तस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले
भूतले
स्वयं रूपा
स्वयं रूपा
कदा
कदा मह्यं
ददाति
ददाति
स्वापदान्तिकं
स्वपदान्तिकं
वन्देऽहं
वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं
श्रीयुतापदकमलं
श्रीयुतापदकमलं
श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवं
वैष्णवंश्च
श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं
श्रीसाग्रजातां
सहगणा
सहगणं
रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं
सजीवं
साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं
कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री
श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान्
कृष्णपदान्
सहगणा
सहगणा
ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं
विशाखान्वितंश्च
कृष्णा
हे कृष्ण
कृष्णा
करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो
जगत्पते
जगत्पते
गोपेश
गोपिका कान्ता राधा
नमस्तुते
काञ्चन
तप्तकाञ्चन
गौराङ्गी
राधे
राधे
वृन्दावनेश्वरि
वृन्दावनेश्वरी
वृषभानुसुते
वृषभानुसुते
देवी
देवी
प्रणमामि
प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये
वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च
कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च
पतितानां
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
पावनेभ्यो नमो नमः।
वैष्णवेभ्यो
जय श्री कृष्ण
कृष्ण
चैतन्य
चैतन्य
प्रभु
प्रभु
नित्यानंद
नित्यानन्द
श्री
श्री
अद्वैता
अद्वैता
गदाधर
गदाधर
श्रीवासादि
शिवासादि
गौरभक्तवृंदा
गौरभक्तवृन्दा
हरे कृष्णा हरे
हरे कृष्ण
कृष्णा
कृष्ण कृष्ण
हरे
हरे हरे
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे और प्रेमते हरे को. Thank you so much once again, dear devotees, those who are joining us here on Facebook as well as on Zoom and on YouTube. My koti koti pranams to you, and congratulations for making this fantastic decision to spend the a Friday afternoon or a Friday evening in the company of devotees. There's nothing much better than that, and nothing more auspicious you're going to get anywhere else than being in the company of devotees. Okay, so I see Madhav Sangini Mataji, Subodhini Mataji, Satapa Mataji have also joined. So today is a very important juncture in our Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavad-gita that we're reading. We completed the first 7 chapters,
chapters.
and we are going to now go into chapter number 8. And what does chapter number 8, what is the heading of chapter number 8?
Attaining the Supreme.
Attaining the Supreme. Hare
Attaining
Krishna
the
Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. So attaining the Supreme. So we're going to talk about
Hare
that
Krishna
now.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So what I was going to say is that we did chapter 7. How many verses are there in chapter 7?
30.
30. So we took minimum of 30 weeks to study Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, right? Invested 30 weeks, almost 7 months plus on that. And chapter 7 has how many verses?
28.
30. 30.
Oh,
This
8.
is chapter 7.
8 is 28.
8 is
Yeah.
28, right? Yeah, so we'll be spending 28 weeks at least
Weeks.
in this as well, right? So I wanted to change the format a little bit. And what happens as we split from one verse to another verse, we are losing. I noticed when I was asking questions last week that we were losing the connection. And so we have to stay connected with the chapter, right? So what we'll do is that we will start every class with reading the whole chapter in English first, okay? And then we'll pick up whatever is the verse that is designated, and then we'll go deeper into that. How does that feel?
Good.
Good.
Okay.
Very nice.
All right. So now I will have you all read one verse at a time, and then we will circle back and read one more, and then continue until we stop. Now, we need some sort of a order for reading. I'm just seeing the orders over here as they appear on my screen, so no bias from my side at all, but I see Madhav Sangini, then I see Sukomal Radhe, then I see Sutapa, then I see Jyoti Mataji, then I see Kiran Goyal, then Kiran Khosla, then Vindyavali, Yugal. Okay. And did I miss out anybody? Sutapa.
No,
Yeah,
Sutapa is after me.
yeah, is
You
after you.
said.
I
But
have Madhav Sangini, Subodhini, Sutapa. Hold on. That is how they are showing. Sukomal Radhe. Yeah. After Madhav Sangini, Sukomal Radhe. Yeah. Sukomal.
but you know, Mataji, Kiran Goyal Mataji said that she's going to be on mute. She said
Okay,
in the
that's
group.
fine. Okay, that's good. Thank you for
But
letting
I
me.
can read, Mataji. I will
Oops.
read.
Okay.
I will read.
Okay, so let's go. And then did I cover everybody? Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to start sharing the screen now here. And maybe I can read the first words. What do you say?
Of course.
Mataji, I don't know the voice of the person or face. I don't know.
People have to show the face, right?
I don't know.
I will read out your name, okay? When your
Okay.
child. But then you learn how to understand, how to recognize voices.
No.
All right. Chapter number 8, Attaining the Supreme. So sometimes it's also called Tarak Brahma Yoga or Akshar Brahma Yoga in Sanskrit, when we give the names and recite the colloquy. Text number 1. Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me. Adhav Sangini.
Who is the Lord of sacrifice and how does he live in the body? O Madhusudana, and how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death?
Okay, Sukamal Radhe.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called adhyātma, the self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma, or fruitive activities.
Udini.
Hare Krishna Mataji. O best of the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called adhibhūta, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods, like those of the sun and moon, is called adhidaivaṁ. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the super soul in the heart of every embodied being, am called Adiyajna, the Lord of sacrifice.
Sutapa.
And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me, alone at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt.
Jyoti Mataji.
When whatever state of being one remembers, when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, the state he will attain without fail. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Does anybody remember who comes after Jyoti? Kiran Goyal Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yeah. Text 7. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Kiran Khosla.
Who meditates on me as Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me. Hare Krishna.
Vindyavali.
One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature. Hare Krishna.
Yugal Mataji.
Mataji, I'm driving.
Okay.
Sorry.
Anybody didn't get a chance to read?
Hi, Mataji, Garima.
Okay, Garima, good. Text number 10.
One who at the time of death fixes his life hair between the eyebrows and by the strength of yoga with an undeviating mind engage himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
We'll go back again. Madhav Sangini.
Aarti Mataji joined recently.
Oh, Aarti is also there. Sorry, I'm not able to see. Welcome, Aarti.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
So, Aarti, we are just reading. We have started a new chapter today, so that's a good day that you're joining us. And the chapter 8 of Bhagavad-gita. Each one of us just reading one translation. And so, Aarti, go ahead. Text 11 for you, right?
Person who learned in the Vedas, who utter Omkara, and who are great sages in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practice celibacy. I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation.
All right, nice. So we'll go back now to Madhav Sangini.
Hare Krishna. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga.
After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets.
Subodhini.
But for one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pratha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service.
Sutapa.
After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries because they have attained the highest perfection.
Jyoti Madhav.
From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery where repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Hare Krishna ji.
Kiran Goyal. Kiran Khosla.
By human calculation, 1,000 sages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night.
Vindhyavali.
At the beginning, I cannot see Mataji. Little up, please. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state. And therefore, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again.
Garima.
Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being. And with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated.
Aarti.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yet there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, the part remains as it is.
Madhav Sangini.
Hare Krishna. That which the Vedantis describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns, that is my supreme abode.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading and everything is situated within him.
Subodhini? Suttapa?
Hare Krishna Mataji. O best of the Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back.
Those who know, O best of the Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which
24. Those who know the Supreme.
Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain the Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery god in the light at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north.
Jyoti Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji. The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months from the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet but again comes back. Hare Krishna Ji.
Next, 26. According to Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back. But when one passes in darkness, he returns. Hare Krishna.
Kiran Krishna? Vindhyavali?
Although the devotees know these two paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, he be always fixed in devotion. Shall I read the next one too, Prabhu? Mataji?
No, Garima is there. Garima?
Mataji, you can read if you want.
No, it's okay. I thought I am the last one I can do.
A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the result derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode.
Okay, Jay. So thank you so much for reading. So each one of you read a couple at least of the verses. So whatever you read, are there some words that you heard that caught your attention?
Mataji, I have a question for you. If you
Question,
go
let me first answer my question. What does know the question?
I like where somebody else read. I did not read that verse, but somebody read that verse that manifested like we come. I did not understand the shaloka, but it said, we come from unknown manifested and then we go back to the unknown. So that is just strike my mind.
That struck your mind? Okay, good. And we'll take your question. Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Shri Bhagavan is answering Arjuna's questions, which he was asking in the first verse, that who is Brahman, what are the activities, what are the fruitive activities, or what is the self-soul. Then Shri Bhagavan answers, and most of the verses struck in my mind were how to leave this world. That if you leave this world remembering me, taking my name, I will take you to my abode. So devotional service and thinking about remembering Krishna, meditating upon him. These things are stressed up, especially at the time of death.
Nice, nice. Anything else anybody would like to share that impressed them? They'd like to call out? When you were reading your thing, did you remember anything?
Which shloka struck me always?
Which shloka?
Which shloka? So whoever remembering at the time of that quits his body will attains me or will reach me.
Will reach to me. That stuck out to you. That's
Yeah,
good.
that struck out. And then second thing that struck me was that whatever that time in darkness or light or which month you should you give up your body, that is also important. That is to try and know something like that. It was something. It was
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm-hmm. The whole
And
list
then
of yeah, go ahead.
Mataji, Krishna
and
is
how you should leave your body, that fixing air between your eyebrows and taking my name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
Hare
Uh,
Krishna.
yeah.
Without thinking anything else except me will reach to me. That
Okay.
also
Good. It
struck me.
stuck you. Okay, that's good. I
Yeah.
think there was somebody else also trying to speak something.
yes,
Ji.
Mataji, and the Krishna can be attainable by unalloyed devotion.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
He is all pervading, and everything is situated within him.
Within him. Okay.
And
Yeah, Hare
I
Krishna,
also, oh, go ahead.
Hare
No,
Krishna
I was,
Mataji. The
Yeah.
actual consolation or the actual best part, beautiful part is the last verse in which Krishna is saying that you can attain me through so many ways, but the best ways is again devotional service, sincere devotional service towards me. Then you don't need to do all these sacrifices, austerities, and philosophical knowledge and all that. Perfect, unalloyed devotional service. That is the main thing.
Correct. Perfect devotional service, unalloyed, right?
Yeah.
And that is what makes it so difficult. That it
Yeah.
has to be unalloyed. Yeah, but good.
It's very hard, Mataji, to do unalloyed. How
yeah.
much ever you try.
So when you find in your real life, if you find something is very hard, like a calculus problem, what do we do? Is life easy?
No.
No, it's
Very
not.
difficult, Mataji.
Very hard, very difficult. So what do we do to handle that?
Well,
Something.
in terms of calculus, we will go to somebody who is good in math.
Okay, good. And then
Yeah.
what is the next step when you go to that
We
person?
work hard, we repetitively do it.
We really do it, right? Yeah. So abhyasa yogena
Oh.
right? Practice. So big deal. When you started, how many of you know how to ride a bicycle?
How to write?
I do.
A bicycle.
We all know.
I.
All
Okay.
of us probably.
All of us probably knew, right? I have also forgotten.
Yeah, but with a bicycle, once you sit on it, you get it. So,
Yeah.
Mataji, driving and cycling, you never forget.
yeah, you never
Okay.
forget.
You never forget.
Yes.
You feel sometime like I didn't drive for 7 years the car. But then, I was so hesitant. But the moment you sit, reflexes come back to you, and within 2 minutes, you know how to do it. So, abhyas is very important.
Yeah. I'll talk more about that, but I see a hand raised. Madhav Sangini, Mataji.
Okay, what struck out to me was those, it says, he said, "Oh, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and then do your duties while thinking of me in that form."
Yeah. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhacha. Right? So, yeah. So,
There is one
yeah.
thing most struck me was that where it was said that you never come back. Once you attain me,
Okay.
you are free from the. But I never understood this, whether how difficult the process is, how we reach that, how we are free from cycle of birth and death. It is very, very difficult for a people
Exactly.
like me or
Right.
people like us.
Yeah. And so that's why, first of all, we have to understand why birth happens, right?
G.
right? And
We
that,
understand that, but still we do the same mistakes again and again,
so
again
why
and
does
again.
birth happen?
Because of our bad karmas.
Our unfulfilled desires.
So is it unfulfilled desires or is it karmas? Oh, bad
It's
karma.
due to our desires. Because
Both.
some desires are left.
Both, Mataji.
Both? So
Yes.
both because of unfulfilled desires and because of bad karma, we'll get a body, right?
Yes.
Then does it mean that because of good karma, we won't get a body?
We will get
You'll get.
to get the fruits of that. So we have to go to the neutral karmas. That is where we can only devote ourselves to the Krishna.
Right, and how difficult is neutral karma?
Very difficult.
Right? So, and when you have got difficult things, what do? You told me just now.
Practice.
Practice.
Practice, right? So now when you are practicing, if it becomes very difficult while you're practicing, then what will you do? If you're learning how to bicycle and you are falling down every day, what will you do?
Probably will
Take
give up.
guidance from instructor.
Abhyāsam.
Yeah, but abhyas, you are falling down.
Then we
The
go
first
to an
instinct will be to
instructor.
give up.
Somebody who is better than us in
Somebody
who can guide us.
who has been doing the bicycling, right? Or you might just turn around to others. It's always good to go higher up, right? But you can also touch base with others around you who are also falling from the bicycle. So you have company in your misery. But also you won't feel that I am the only one who's bad when you realize that everybody faces that problem, right? So it softens the blow on you a little bit. And then, of course, you can only learn from those who are better than you. So things flow from higher to a lower. And that is why we say we'll always go and listen to Krishna. Okay. So now this particular verse, this particular chapter is actually connected. So chapters in Bhagavad-gita are connected. So Ved Vyas, who compiled and documented the Bhagavad-gita, he has broken them down into chapters. It's not that Krishna in the middle of Mahabharata war was telling, okay, Arjuna, chapter 1. Okay, soul is indestructible, chapter 2. Now let me tell you chapter 3, karma, yoga, like that. No, right? So there was just a flow of instructions from Krishna. And Ved Vyas, for us to be able to understand and comprehend, collected them into understandable chunks, which were talking about
I'm in the class, Nana.
So they were talking, so he's talking about a particular topic. So all the shlokas around them are put in one section. So for us to read and understand, right? And so in chapter number 6 of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about yoga, right? And in the end, he says bhakti yoga is very good. And then in 7, he's going to talk about, how people can approach. The question is that, okay, when you need to do bhakti of Krishna, how do I do that? And then he says that, you think about me. And then he goes and talks about how are the different ways that you can think about it. And the lowest one was Bhumi Apo Analo Vayu Kamano Buddhirevacha, right? So that all this material world is made from my energy. So if you concentrate on any one of my energies, then you are connected to me. For example, he said, Rasoham Apsu Kaunteya. I'm the taste of the water, right? What is water? It's a material thing, right? But if you think about that Krishna is the taste of the water, or whenever you take your next glass of water, you think about Krishna, then you're thinking about Krishna, right? And that is Krishna consciousness. Everywhere, every time we try to connect ourselves with Krishna. And then towards the end of the chapter number 7, of course, he was talking about Chaturvidha Bhajante Man, 4 type of people come to me, right? And then he also talks about those who don't come to him, what happens to them, those who go to demigods, what happens in that case, and all that. So he gives that whole thing, right? And then, of course, he's talking about a devotional service. So now we'll just go back to chapter number 7 because it's very, very important for us to maintain the context between what is being said in one chapter and another chapter. So I'm just going to pick up the last 2 because I was emphasizing certain things when I was teaching these 2 verses. So here he's saying that intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in me in devotional service. They're actually Brahman because they entirely know everything about transcendental activities. And if you go and look at the Sanskrit here, it says Jara Marana Mokshaya Mam Ashritya Yatanti Te Brahma Tad Vidu Kritsnam Adhyātmam Karma Chakhilam. So here, if you notice that these are 3 words, Brahma, Adhyātmam, and Karma. And if you go back to our words from today, He's saying kim tadbram, kim adhyātmam, kim karma puruṣottama. So straight away from, after Krishna has spoken this verse and used these three words, Brahma, adhyātma, and karma, and these terms can be very, very complicated. And that is why I had mentioned that this was one of the teaching techniques of Krishna, that when you teach something, you'll throw in some difficult words just to make sure that the student is tuned to you or not. And if the student just lets those words pass, doesn't respond, then you know that the student's attention is somewhere else, right? But if the student turns around and asks you a question, then you know that, okay, the student is tuned, and then you will answer. And which is what happens in the beginning. He's going to ask these questions. And in the subsequent verses, Krishna will answer each one of them. What is Brahma? What is karma? What is adhyātma, right? So these three words, they come there, right? Now, if we go to the next verse in chapter 30, which was the last verse, Sadhibhūta, adhibhūtam, adhidaivaṁ. So two words, adhibhūtam, adhidaivaṁ. Sa adhiyagyam. So adhiyagyam, the third word. Cha ye viduhu prayanakale pichamam te vidur yukta chetasa. So what is he saying? Those in full consciousness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigods and of all methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. Right? So he has said, okay, now if you understand that I am the Supreme Lord, I am the governing principle of material manifestation, adhibhūta, of the demigods, adhiyagya, like that, and of all methods of sacrifice, adhidaivaṁ is demigods, and all methods of sacrifice, adhiyagya. So he threw in three more words here, and the chapter 7 is from Vedya's perspective has concluded. But then when he has thrown in these three new words, immediately Arjuna, that he's so smart, he's saying, kim tadbram, kim adhyātmam, kim karma puruṣottama. What is adhyātmam, right? What is Brahma? What is adhyātmam? What is karma puruṣottama? Adhibhūtam, kim proktam, adhidaivaṁ. So another, kim ucyate. And then he'll continue to ask in the next couple of in the next couple of lines, which is the next shloka. He will continue his asking his questions, right? But for today, we are going to focus and stay on this one. So Arjuna inquired, "O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman?" Now, before I go into that, I remember when we had finished reading everything, somebody had said that there was a question. Aarti, was it you who wanted to ask a question?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. It's okay, Mataji. We can continue this. And I was just saying that I did not understand Shloka 18, and probably you will go some point in
We
there.
will, 18 weeks later.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, we will do that. Yeah, but if you have time, we can touch on that. So Arjuna inquired, "O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me." Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this chapter, Lord Krishna answers different questions from Arjuna, beginning with what is Brahman. The Lord also explains karma, which is fruitive activities, devotional service, and yoga principles, and devotional service in its pure form. The Srimad Bhagavatam explains that the supreme absolute truth is known as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. In addition, the living entity, the individual soul, is also called Brahman. Arjuna also inquires about Atma, which refers to body, soul, and mind. According to the Vedic dictionary, Atma refers to mind, soul, body, and senses also. So according to Vedic dictionary, what are the different meanings of the word Atma?
Mind, body, soul.
Body and soul.
And
senses,
right? Yeah, so basically Arjuna is asking Krishna this question, and so he's saying that in the previous word he said Brahma, and then Atma. So then when these words, he has seen this, he's living in the Vedic culture, in that environment in the Dwapar Yuga, where people were still not like us here in this material world. So he's asking that question, and he's saying that he wants to know what that is, because when Krishna is saying Atma, what did you mean, Krishna? Did you mean the mind? Did you mean the soul? Did you mean the body? Were you talking about the senses? Right? And then Brahman. What is Brahman? Here also he's saying that in the Bhagavatam, it explains Supreme Absolute Truth is known as Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. So there's very famous verse from the first canto, second chapter, Divinity and Divine Service. Vadanti tat tatvitas tattvam yat brahma adhibhūtam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwan iti shabdate. So it says that those who know the absolute truth, those who have understood the truth, those people will be able to explain Those who have seen and realized God, they'll be able to tell you what God is. And so they are saying that this absolute truth, which is God, you can know him in three features. You can know him as Brahman, you can know him as Paramatma, and Bhagwan. And so in Srimad Bhagavatam, we understand the word Brahman here to mean, or sometimes written as Brahma only in Sanskrit. So Brahman is the effulgence or the light that comes out of Bhagwan, or the light that comes out of Krishna. So that is Brahman. And some people think that God is light. So for them, they are understanding or realizing the absolute truth in the form of light. Okay. Sometimes you hear that people had near-death experience, and then they say that, oh, I see a very bright light, and it was very peaceful. I felt very peaceful, right? So those kind of things come from contact with the Brahman. And then Paramatma. What is Paramatma?
God sitting in everybody's heart.
The God sitting in everybody's heart, right? And is there a name for that God?
Kshirodakshay Vishnu.
Kshirodakshay Vishnu, correct. 500 points. Or Paramatma, right? So, so then that is also God in one form, and that the Paramatma, typically sitting in the heart, has got four-handed form. So he's the four-handed Vishnu. And then there is Krishna, then there is Bhagwan. Krishna tu Bhagwan Swayam. Right? So we hear about so many incarnations. Give me the names of some incarnations of Krishna.
All the Dasha avatar.
Hey, Dasha avatar, give me the names.
Matsya,
Varaha,
Kurma,
Kurma, Narasimha,
Rama,
Ram,
Parshuram.
Okay.
Buddha.
Okay, good. And then Krishna has only Dash avatars?
Kalki Bhagwan.
Kalki.
Okay, Kalki is as part of the Dash avatars.
Yeah, more avatars.
Does Krishna come only as 10 avatars?
No, more avatars.
No,
more.
First expansion is Balram.
Okay, good. Right? So I also wanted to explain the difference between expansion and avatar. Okay? Difference between Balram and Krishna, like that, right? And Kurma. Okay? So you imagine that there is a spiritual world where Krishna lives. Okay? And Krishna has got two-handed form over there in Golok Vrindavan and in other Vaikuntha planets. And why are Vaikuntha planets called Vaikuntha planets? What's the reason they are giving this name?
No Kuntha there.
And what is Kuntha, please?
Unhappiness. Conflict.
So no Kuntha means no conflict. So then life is happy if you don't have any conflicts. What is Kuntha? There are no miseries.
Misery, yes.
Miseries can come from various sources. Conflict is one of them.
Yes, the
Right?
perfect word, yes.
Misery is a better word, right? So Vaikuntha planets are those that where you roam. So there are so many in Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna describes there are scheduled incarnations that they will happen at certain points in time. Over the cycle of yugas, they will come. They're scheduled. Then there are some unscheduled ones. According to the need, he will incarnate. And then Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If he wants to come here, he will come. Nobody can stop him. Right? So he will do on his own as well. Then sometimes Krishna also gives power, some supernatural powers to some of his devotees. And they are also known as avatars, but they are known as Shakti-avesh avatars, which is basically that Krishna as if has given the power of attorney to them to act on their behalf. So Shakti-devi Avatara, give me examples of some Shakti-avesh avatars that you know of.
Those God has given supernatural power to them is known as Satyadeva Avatara.
Shakti, power.
Shakti-devi.
Ved Vyas is one of them.
Balram Mataji.
Prabhupada. And all the Goswamis.
No. None of them. Yeah, Shakti-avesh avatars will be a jiva soul who has been given.
Srila Prabhupada,
No. In the scriptures, it is not written that Srila Prabhupada is a Shakti-devi Saptar. So we will follow the scriptures, right? We may want him to be a Shakti-devi Saptar. He never told us that he's a Shakti-devi Saptar, right? So among the Shakti-devi Saptaras is Narad Muni.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
Vyasdeva,
yes.
and then Parashuram. And then there'll be one Shakti-devi Saptar. Among all the avatars that you listed in the Dash Avatar, from the Dash Avatara Sutra, you listed out Shama avatars, right? So among those 10, there is one Shakti-devi Avatar. Which one do you think is that? Where he gives power to a jiva to do extraordinary things.
Mataji, will Vyasdev will be considered as a Shakti-devi Avatar?
Yes.
Yeah.
But Vyasadeva doesn't appear in the Dashavatar Stotra. I'm just saying that you all told me the 10 avatars, right? So I'm saying
Yes,
the avatar, yeah,
yes.
is a Shakti-devi Avatar. Which one do you think is that? We can start with each name and then discuss and then maybe say this is the one or maybe this is not the one and go to the next one. So how do we start? The Dashavatara story starts with which avatar?
Matsya.
Jaladi Prayokti Jal. Okay, Matsya. Okay. So is that Shakti-devi Avatar? Do you know?
No.
Okay.
No,
Let's go to the next one.
Kurma.
Kurma.
Kurma. Is
No.
Kurma. Okay. Then
Varaha.
okay.
Varaha.
No.
Okay.
Nrsimha.
Nrsimha.
Nrsimha is
No.
No.
Okay.
Vamanavatar. No. Vamanavatar.
Rama Parshurama.
Rama. Is Rama Shakti-devi Avatar?
No.
Is Parashuram?
No.
When I just define Shakti-devi Avatar, I gave you some examples, right? Was Parashuram one of them?
Yes. Mataji.
Yes, you gave. Yeah.
Okay.
You
All right.
counted.
Let's continue. Yeah, let's continue. Yeah, continue down the list. Let's see. Rest of the list.
Akshay Kurma Ram Balaram.
Buddha. Ram, Balram, and then Buddha.
Buddha, Kalki.
Kalki, no, but Buddha.
Buddha is Shakti-devi Mataji. I don't know. Yeah.
Kalki is the Shakti-devi Avatar.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
There is no how, the Shastras tell us. That's how it is.
Oh.
Right? So that's a Shakti-devi Avatar. So Avatar basically means that when God is there up in the higher planetary systems, in the transcendental planetary systems, he comes as he is. In whatever shape or form he's there in any of the spiritual planets, he'll come like that. So this means that in the spiritual planet, he lives like a Kurma. He lives like a Matsya somewhere there, right? To give pleasure to those devotees who like his Kurma avatar, right? So they will go and visit Vishnu and live with Vishnu like that in that avatar. Okay. Expansions is something that happens only in the spiritual world. Okay. So in the spiritual world, Krishna is there, and then he expands as Balram. From Balram, another expansion comes, so that Chaturvyu, like that, right? But they're all in the spiritual world. All that is happening in the spiritual world. Now, when Balram from the spiritual world comes down to this material world as it is, then that is known as Balram has taken avatar. So the thing about these avatars are they were living there they were there in the upper planetary system, and they have just come down as it is in the same body. So they had a spiritual body there. Their body here is also spiritual, but it looks the same, right? It'll be just like, you look at this 2 eyes, nose, like that. It's difficult for normal beings to decipher that this is a spiritual person, made his body is completely transcendental, or this person is, material, right? So remember this distinction in your head, that when expansions happen parallel on the horizontally on the same side, and avatar basically means to descend. So somebody from the up is descending,
Coming down.
coming down. So it's not that Krishna was there, and then he comes here, he takes a material body like that. No, he just comes as it is from the top to the bottom, right? So when we talk about all this, then in the Bhagavatam, it says, Yete chamsa kala punsam Krishna tu Bhagwan swayam indrari vakulam loke Mridyanti Yuga Yuga. So he says that, oh, it describes all the scheduled incarnation, unscheduled, Chaktavis and all that. Bhagavatam does that. And after that, in the end, it says, Ye che chamsa kala punsa. All these, are just incarnations of you, Krishna. But Krishna, the two-handed form of Krishna that we know, the Krishna tu Bhagwan Swayam. You are Bhagavan, right? So when we were talking about Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan, like Paramatma is also Vishnu, right? So Vishnu and Bhagwan are different. Vishnu and Krishna are different in that sense, right? That Krishna is Bhagwan. Krishna is the original thing. Okay, so we have to remember. So when we are talking about Brahman, Arjuna is confused as to what exactly is he talking about, right? Now, one of the things that we notice in today's verse here is that he addressed Krishna as with one. How does he address Krishna? Open your books. You're allowed to open your books. Open your book and tell me. Or scroll through your book on yourself.
Oh my Lord, O Supreme Person.
Yes, and what's the Sanskrit for that?
Oh, in Sanskrit.
Bhagavan uvāca.
Bhagavan.
Where does it say Bhagwan in that verse?
No. Kim karma puruṣottama.
So how does
he calls him all the names, Mataji.
Puruṣottama,
Madhusudana,
adhibhūtam.
Madhusudana.
In the first verse, puruṣottama.
Correct, yeah. Precise answer, puruṣottama, right?
Puruṣottama.
So, tam means, tama means darkness, right? Tam means darkness. That's why we say tamsik, right? Things that take you into ignorance. Ignorance is darkness, right? Wisdom is light. So, ut means beyond. It and ut. Abhi it jaun ya ut jaun. There's that song, right? So it and ut is there. Should I go there? So ut tam means if this is tam, then ut is beyond that. So when you say uttama means that he is a person who is beyond the ignorance, beyond the darkness of this material world. So he is transcendental. So purush who is uttam. So you are the purush person who has a body, right? But then he is uttam means that he's a transcendental person. And so Arjun is very smart. I was asking earlier that, if we're facing difficulties in our devotional service, where will we go? And you all said we will go to somebody senior, somebody who's knowledgeable, right? So that's what we should do. So that's why Arjuna in this particular verse is addressing Krishna as Puruṣottama. He's saying that you are Puruṣottama. Because for me to get answers, I should go to the best teacher. Right? And so he goes to God. Puruṣottama, he's asking the question to God and he's addressing Krishna, that Krishna, because you are God. He's not saying, hey, my friend, hey, Madhaveti, hey, Sakheti. He's not saying any of that. He's saying Puruṣottama. Why? Because he wants to get the answer from the best teacher who is transcendental. And so why don't we take learnings from a teacher who is not transcendental, like a teacher in the material world? Why do we always say, I want to learn from Krishna?
What is that, Mataji?
Because we are suffering from 4 defects.
Very good. And what are the 4 defects?
Imperfect senses, sense of delusion and doubt, and we always commit mistakes.
Well, and there is tendency to cheat. Right? So we have imperfect senses, which means that, our eyes cannot see things properly. Right? Which means that, if I am standing here in front of you and I will show you something and I say, okay, how big is my fist? You will give me some answer. Now, if I go 100 meters away from you and I say, what's the size of this fist? Your eyes cannot tell. And at that time, you'll say, oh, Mataji, you moved away so far. And because you moved away so far, I was not able to give you the dimensions. Like, all right, fine, then I'll move very close and I put my fist right in front of your eyes. Can you tell me the size? No. So this is imperfect sense. It won't tell. Right? Similarly, when there is some very nice perfume that you put, right? So there's a sense of smell that is acting. Your nose is active. After some time, do you smell the perfume?
No.
No, right? Others may smell it, but you don't. So is the smell not there?
It is there, but
Isn't-
our nose gets used to the smell.
We are
That's an
acclimatized to it.
imperfect. It's an imperfect sense. The idea
Yeah.
of the sense was to gather the information from the environment and tell you that, oh, there is a rose smell here, or whatever is the perfume that is there. It is supposed to tell you, but after some time it stops telling you. Right? Similarly, with your hand, if you want to touch something and you want to know the temperature, just in general, thanda hai, garam hai, right? So like there is a steel table in the temple where you cut your vegetable. Now you go take on a summer day, you go and take a cool shower and then come and touch the table. You are going to say table is hot, right? And then if you don't take the cool shower, you come back from sun outside and then you touch it with the same hand, you'll say, oh, your table is very cool. So is the table hot or is it cold? Same hand is touching it. And so the truth is that table is either hot or it is cold. It has got some temperature, but our body is not. This is imperfect senses. Okay, and then these imperfect senses have got the tendency to be disillusioned, which basically means that I have an eye and I can see a rope, but I can be disillusioned and I can think that it is the snake, right? So I can be disillusioned. I can think that I'm driving and there is water on the road, but there is no water. Mirage, optical illusion,
Mirage.
Krishna, right? So that's another defect. That you can't even, the things are put in front of you, you mistake them to be something else. So similarly, when you are explaining or trying to understand a concept, we might get mistaken and might not come to the right conclusions. Right? And then there is a tendency to make errors. You wanted to write 25 or 25 and you wrote 52. Do we do that? And then the fourth one is the tendency to cheat. And that is that knowing that I've got all these four senses, that I do this and that, I will still try to cheat and not try to accept that I have got these defects. Right? For example, there was a snake, there was a rope and you thought it was a snake, and then somebody will come and say, oh, no, it turned out to be rope. It's like, no, I think it was a snake only. It must have been a snake, it went away. So we do all those kinds of things to hand, right? So when you are saying that I want to understand things from a person who is suffering from these four defects, which are coming from our material senses, which basically means that the person, number one, has got imperfect senses. So whatever is the truth that person through that senses is not able to gather the right truth, right? And then not only that, not gather the right truth, it can gather the wrong truth also, through illusion. And then when it is trying to convey that information to you, like so many times in my lectures, I might speak something completely opposite, although I was not meaning to be, but the wrong word slipped from your mouth. So you make mistakes like that. Okay. So even if I knew the truth, but when I'm trying to convey it to you because of my tendency to make errors, I will make errors and then give you the wrong idea. And then after some time, down the lecture, even if I realize that I made a mistake, I will not accept it because that's my tendency to cheat. Right? So why would anybody want to learn from somebody? And that's why Arjuna is saying, I want to go to somebody who doesn't have these four defects. That's why he's saying that you are puruṣottama. Kim tad brahm kim, right? And then Brahman, he's trying to understand, what do you mean when you're saying this Brahman? Are you talking about the soul? What exactly the mind? What exactly were you saying in chapter number 7? Kim tad brahm kim adhyātmam, right? And Atma. 4 definitions we saw about the Atma. So tell me which, and then Kim karma, right? So karma, trying to understand, of course, 4th chapter of Bhagavad-gita said that trying to understand the nuances and intricacies of karma is very difficult. Gahana karma, right? It says, but what exactly is karma? I got up and I brushed my teeth. Is that karma? Am I going to get a karmic reaction because I brushed my teeth? I took a shower because of that. Is that karma? What exactly is karma, right? So he's asking that question to Krishna. And then, of course, last time in the last chapter, Krishna had said, you remember me at the time of that. And a lot of you did mention, a lot of you did say that that was a part that struck you, right? And Mataji said that he talked about leaving your body at this time or that time and you return and you don't return, right? So that's very, very important for us. I would like to spend a few minutes on that one. So let me go to chapter 8 and get to those. I think it's 24, 25, somewhere around that verse, and I'll start sharing my screen again with you. Okay. So there is, So here in 24, it's saying, those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery god in the light at an inauspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north. So there is Uttarayan, Dakshinayan and all that, right? The sun is sometimes in the northern hemisphere, sometimes it's in the southern hemisphere. So he's saying that those people who give up their body when the sun is in the north side, okay? Or when the moon is the waxing moon, that is, it is Shukla Paksh, when the moon is increasing in size, right? That's how the moon goes. The new moon, Amavasya, and then the moon starts growing till it reaches Purnimasi. And then after that, it starts declining, waning. And then it becomes Amavasya again, like that, right? So the first part where the moon is increasing is called Shukla Paksh, and the other one is called, what's the other part called? I'm forgetting. The Shukla Paksh and... Sorry?
Krishna Paksha.
Krishna Paksha, yeah, Krishna black, right?
Krishna Paksha.
So he's saying that those who leave their body. Now here we have to remember that it is not in your hand when you're going to leave the body, okay? But in chapter 6, where we were talking about yoga, right? Dhyana yoga, where people are yogis. So those yogis, they have got, they get the powers that they are able to leave the body whenever they want. So then they can leave the body by passing away to the influence of the fiery god in the morning part, right? And in the light, it's light, auspicious moment of the day. So inauspicious moments of the day die in the night, right? Like that. And when the moon is increasing or when the sun is in the northern atmosphere. So when it goes there, then a person after death does not come back to this material world. Then the second part, he's saying the mystic, that mystic yogi. Or
Is
one
that
who...
Bhishma Mataji? Bhishma Pitama.
Yes, Bhishma Pitama, yeah. But Bhishma Pitama is little more than a yogi, and we'll talk. He's a Bhakti yogi, actually. So the mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, like the Krishna Paksha, and the 6th month when the sun passes to the south, right? Dakshinayan, this is what it says, right? So they reach the moon planet. So why do they reach the moon planet? Because moon is a heavenly planet. So they were mystics, they were doing some good activities, so they get elevated to a higher planet. But then they will come back again because whatever the pious activities that they did, they'll get exhausted and they will come back again to this material world. Now, before we start jumping and thinking like, what should I do then? Should I leave? How do I now make sure? Now, this is another worry that is going to come into my head, that how do I make sure that I will die only when all these good conditions are met in text number 24, right? But here, in text number 27, so 26 is just summarizing 24 and 25, but text 27 from chapter 8, it's saying that although the devotees know these two paths, right? Because the devotees read Bhagavad-gita, so they will know. From Bhagavad-gita it is written, so they know that. Or from other shastras, they will know this fact, right? When do you go and come back, and when you will not come back? O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. So, yeah, so why is Krishna saying that? Right? That why are they not bewildered?
What did you say?
Why are they not bewildered? Although the devotees know that these are two ways, right? In one way, I will go and then I will come back. Other part is that I will go and I will never come back. So that now this mental thing should start in my mind, right? That, oh, should I go? When should I go? How do I go so that I don't come back? What if, like that? What if I die when it's the night? Oh, what if I'm in coma? Like that. But then the next to next verse is saying that the devotee does not bewildered by that. So my question here is that why is a devotee not bewildered by such activity?
He is not bewildered because he already knows Krishna and he has a relationship with Krishna. He's in Bhakti Yoga, so nothing will affect him. Whatever time he dies, it's okay.
What do you mean by nothing will affect him? The answer is half true. Complete the answer. So nothing will affect him means what?
the time frame, this will not affect the person leaving the body at that particular moment.
Yeah, so what is the meaning of not affecting? Because we just read that if you die here, then you go to the moon planet and come back. And if you die in that other circumstances, then you go up and then you never come back. So when we say it's not going to affect the devotee, what are we saying? What are we trying to convey?
We'll go back to Godhead, Mataji, straight.
Huh?
Because we
It's
all allow
not in our
devotion
hands.
of the
This
Lord.
is only Supreme Personality's hands. It's not in our hands.
Okay, I saw a hand raised. So let's take that hand also, in addition to Supreme Personality.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I was just saying, because devotees surrender themselves fully and then they don't feel anything, it doesn't feel for them, it's a day and night. They just always think that Krishna is with them, and of course whatever is going to happen is good.
Again, sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sarvam raja.
This is, what does that mean? Mamekam Sharanam Raja. We said that he says that you surrender to me. So is Krishna saying that
He
you
will
die,
take care.
you come
He
back?
will take care.
He will take care. Is it sure? All devotees
Hare
just go
Krishna
there?
Mataji.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mataji, I feel that, I feel means, according to Bhagavad-gita, I feel that in any case, I have to die. There is no choice. So since I have to die, I leave it to Krishna. Whatever is his will, he will do good for me because I
That
am
is
his
sarvadharman parityajya.
devotee.
Yeah.
So somewhere there is that little desire or little hope is there that Krishna will do good to me. I'm his devotee. Krishna will do good to me. So then he will just make sure that I leave the body during Uttarayan, and then when there is the moon is increasing and it's the morning time, and I die with my eyes open, all that kind of thing. That desire is there because I'm saying Krishna will take care, right?
That Bhishma Pitama also had this desire to see Krishna in front of him while leaving the body. And he waited for the Uttarayan to come and then he left his body. That's right, Mataji. But at the same time, I feel even if he brings me back on this earth, so like Srila Prabhupada came here, he did such a good job and went away. If Krishna is going to give me birth in such a family where I will be able to do devotional service, then I think there is no harm in coming back on this earth planet to serve Krishna.
Yes, 80% there, right? And beyond that, so when a bhakt is totally surrendered, right? So we all said that we are surrendered to God.
Yeah.
Sarvadharman parityajya, very easy to quote, right? But the real surrender is, what is the real surrender? One surrender is I've surrendered to Krishna. Now Krishna will take care of me, right? That's one level of surrender. Other level of surrender and acceptance and surrender to Krishna is that I have surrendered to Krishna, which basically means that, even if the sun was on the northern planet, even if it was in the morning, and then when I died and I was born in a demonic family, to a devotee, it doesn't matter.
Then Prahlad Maharaj.
Doesn't matter, doesn't care. All that he wants is Narayana Parasarve Nakutaschina Bhivyati Swarga Varga Narkeshu Apitulyartha Darshana. So for that devotee, further he goes up to the moon planet and comes back again, or he goes back to Godhead. All that he wants to do is just to do the devotional service of the
Mokshisham masucha.
right.
Like Mataji, I really like Bali Maharaj when he he was pushed down to Patal Loka, and but Krishna assured him that I will be always with you. I will be your doorkeeper. And he remained with him. Though he took away everything from him, still he was very happy and he got the association of Lord Krishna personally.
Right. But what about another bhakta who didn't have all this association in the same Bali family?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Yes. Right? Prahlad Maharaj went through so much of trauma. But he still stuck to Krishna. So one thing that we need to remember here is that Nati Shriti Parthajanan Yogi Muhyati Kaschana Tasmat Sarveshu Kalishu. So he's just saying that it doesn't matter to a devotee. All that he wants is Anajanmane Janmane Ishvare Bhakti Ahetuki Twai. I just want to have unalloyed devotional service. And this is unalloyed devotional service because it doesn't even have a tinge of the fat. And that is the stage it is difficult to achieve. And it can come only through suitable practice. Otherwise, what's going to happen is that as long as we have desires, right, we will keep on getting body. Now, how do we get a body? That is part of the sarga, that is part of the creation. So how does the creation happen? Like we are living in a universe, a galaxy, right? So this galaxy is created. So what do we call a galaxy in Sanskrit?
Brahman.
Brahman, correct, for 500 points. So it's called a Brahman, right? Why? Because it's shaped like an egg, and on the topmost planet sits Brahma, and this egg, half of the egg is full of different kinds of planetary systems that you see in the galaxy picture also. So in the beginning, there is nothing there. There is only earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And from that, these shapes have to be created, and Brahma is an engineer who creates that. And in the beginning, when this Brahman is created, there's only Brahma, and all the Jiva souls are lying in the womb of Vishnu. And from there, they will come out and take different kinds of bodies. So in the beginning, when they don't have a body, it is called unmanifest state. It is not manifesting. Manifesting means you get a shape.
Yeah.
And then you will take a cycle of birth and death, birth and death, birth and death, upari, adha, somewhere. Sometimes you go to the higher planet, sometimes you'll come to the lower planetary system. This will keep on going. And all this will happen while Brahma is sitting up on the topmost planet. He is alive. Now, when Brahmaji dies, this whole universe will collapse. That is pralaya. Okay? So when he dies, the whole universe collapses. And all the jivas who had a form will not get the form. All the earth from our body will become earth. All the water will become water, consolidated. Then they are unmanifested again, and they'll go back again to the womb of Vishnu. Like that. Okay? So that was verse 19, Mataji, where it was saying they'd start from the unmanifest, they become manifested, and they are unmanifested again. So this is how we go, right? And it can be a long time. We can live through various lifetimes, through various creations and annihilations of the universe. That's why we say we have taken millions and millions and millions of births. Brahma himself lives for trillion. Like that, right?
And Brahma is not there, is annihilation, no?
Yes. Okay. So, any questions? Last questions here.
So what should we do, Mataji, to go to spiritual world and the best time to die?
I will let the class answer that question.
Unalloyed devotion. Unalloyed devotion to Lord.
What is the best time to die is the question that Vinyavali Mataji asked.
Like Prahlad Maharaj.
That really depends on us or our desire.
It depends on the divine, actually.
Yes.
Whatever he decides for us is best for us.
Yeah.
Mataji, Shukla Paksha Uttarayan.
God will give us whatever is best for us. We may like it.
According to the shloka, this is the best. Shukla Paksh,
Which shloka?
Uttarayan,
Which shloka?
daytime, or
Which shloka? Which shloka?
this
What is that? What's first?
Open the book, tell me which shloka. You are reading from there, right? Tell me the number. 24, 25?
What is that you said, Mataji?
Mataji, 24 Shadmasa Uttarayana.
Okay.
Agni Jyotiraha Shukla Shadmasa Uttarayana.
Okay. So is it so? If somebody was to ask you what is the best time to go for a devotee? Yeah, for a devotee, what is the best time to leave the body?
Shukla Paksha Uttarayana.
Anybody disagrees with that answer?
Uttarayan Punyakalam, I know that, but Shukla Paksha, I have no idea. Uttarayanam
By passing away from the world during the influence of the fairy god.
Not fairy, fiery. Yeah.
in the light at the auspicious moment of the day, that is the morning hours, during the fortnight
Brahma
of the
Muhurtam.
waxing moon, during the 6 months when
Brahma
the
Muhurt.
sun travels in north.
Yeah. So as a devotee, what is a good time for you to leave the body? You are saying verse 24, right?
What are
What is the
For
best time,
devotee, I
Mataji?
think Mataji, the best time is whatever time you leave your body chanting God's name.
What do you
And
think?
Krishna already
According
must
to
have
me.
decided.
I think as a मेरे को simple way में यही आता है कि if you die chanting the name of God, that is the best time.
And
At least
Krishna
you
must
leave
have
the
already
God.
decided, Mataji. Which we don't know. Maya covers. We don't know when we die. But
Mother,
just
answering
do the
Vidyamali
devotion service,
Mataji's
pay God,
question,
he will take care.
that is this 24th verse only, Mataji. But Vidyamali Mataji asked.
What is it, Mataji? What is it, Mataji said?
Mataji, you asked no, when should be the name. So that is what I felt is.
It's getting cut, Mataji, your voice.
Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain God in the light at the auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in
So
the
now,
north.
now having read chapter number 24, one more misery has been added to our already miserable life, right? And that is now, how will 24 happen to me? Right?
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji,
So
actually, it
devotional
was
service,
a
devotional
very
service is something.
That is the
Devotional
best
service is
thing.
something. Yeah, let me complete. So devotional service is joyfully performed.
That's all.
Yeah.
It is something that should bring joy. So so devotional service should be something that will take you to a place where you are beyond these concepts.
Yeah.
That I am going up and I'm coming down. So which verse is that?
1 minute.
No.
Although the devotee knows the two paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. 27.
That's the answer. What is the best time for a devotee to live? He doesn't care.
Yeah.
Uttarayan, Dakshinayan, whether I'll go, whether I'll come. What does it matter whether we go
Nothing.
whether we go or not come, not go, right?
We cannot stop anyway.
Right? When Prahlad
We have to
Maharaj,
go, we have to go.
when Hiranyakashipu came and then asked Prahlad Maharaj to take gave him a boon and come, and he said, no, I want to take care of these rascals. That's what he said. So people will come, and that's what Prabhupada did. Prabhupada is not a fallen soul, right? He is a soul who has come here on a special mission and a special
We were talking about Shakti-Avesh avatar. Mataji, then Srila Prabhupada will come in which avatar? I mean,
he's not an avatar.
which avatar?
He's not an avatar.
Should we call it?
Yeah. Srila Prabhupada never said that.
But he never said
So
that.
you
But
say
Mataji,
Satyavesh
can
Avatar
conclude,
Narada.
Yeah.
he did
For
so much of work.
For every avatar, you always have to refer to the Shastras, right? The Shastras are going to not only tell you when they're going to come, they will even tell you the name of the parents. Like this Kalki avatar is going to appear in the Bihar area. In such and such, it's all predicted. It's all said, right? If you find somewhere in the Shastra that they talk about Prabhupada, then he is. If you don't, then it is not there. So we always refer to Shastras. And why Shastras? Because Shastras come from Krishna. And Krishna does not have the 4 defects that we have. So whatever is said
Guru Shastra.
And then you also, last week I had asked that question, that where in Bhagavad-gita does Krishna say that I've already spoken the Bhagavad-gita, and all of you got that right answer. It was 4.1.
Yes.
Yeah, but he's saying that he already spoke the Bhagavad-gita. So if he already spoke the Bhagavad-gita, so father heard it, father tells it to the son tells it to her son, daughter, like that. It's propagated. So why does Krishna have to come and tell it again? So he said that it gets bhrashta. It gets misinterpreted. So that's why we keep on coming again and again to revive, to present the Shastras to you in the fresh light again. Okay, so a couple of takeaways from today's class is always rely on Shastras because we have got the senses which are defective, and then don't care about, where we are, whether we're going to come back or not going to come back. Our desire should always be to perform wherever we are, whether we are in heavenly planets or hellish planets, how we can perform devotional service there, right? And of course, we also see Krishna as answering some of the, Arjuna is just asking some questions. He's only asked 3, Kim Tad Brahma, Kim Adhyātmam, Kim Karma. He's asking karma, right? Next week, we'll talk about other things, okay? So we'll call it a day on this one.
Mataji, you said Satyavatar, Narada, Vyasa, Kalki,
Parashuram.
Okay.
Parashuram and Kalki.
Got it.
Can I speak, Mataji?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Mataji, thank you so much for clarifying this difference between avatars and expansions. Today there were 2 questions in my mind which you have answered. Thank you so much. And one thing I wanted to say, when first time I read Bhagavad-gita, when I read this shloka 24, I was very disturbed. I said, suppose you don't die in this time, you don't die in that Uttarayan or this. It's not in your hand. Then to console myself, I said, let the God decide. Let it be whatever, if God give me that only this chant, that I chant your name. So that was the consolation I got when I first time read. At that time, I didn't read read first time when I read 24. Then later on, I did not know what is in 25, 26, 27, 28 shlokas. But a lot of consolation comes. And Mataji, I don't know whether I'm right or wrong, but I'm not thinking about anything when I die or when one should die. It is the time God will decide, and it is God naturally will decide, and whether I should not want to take any, I don't want to take any, मुझे इससे ना वो नहीं होना चाहिए, परेशानी नहीं होनी चाहिए. That's what I want.
That's
my aim is to chant the name, and I want to do that. And for that, today the second question is, keep wavering, keep chanting abhyas, and then going to another person. That second answer you gave me, and I'm very thankful to you for that. Thank you so much.
Mataji, one more small question I have. When we have at the last stage, we cannot say anything because vata, pitta, and it might choke my throat also. So best thing is, I will request somebody to play that Hare Krishna Mahamantra so that I can hear. If I cannot say also, I can hear. I want to hear. How is it, Mataji?
Okay.
Is that a good wish?
So all the time, so you're talking about talking, somebody's sound, and then it entering through your ears and you hear it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a conversation that happens. Yeah. We all we know that, right? Now my next question is, is there some other conversation that happens?
No, you see, people will say, oh, she's dying. Oh, she's that.
No. Question, answer the question.
What is that?
One is a conversation that you're having right now, right? You're speaking, I'm listening, I'm speaking, you're listening, right? My question, is there some other conversation that happens?
Some other conversation is, we are praying God. That's all.
That's all? Okay.
Yeah, but at the last moment, it may not work. Anything may not work.
Last moment will come to at the last moment. My question here is, what other conversation happens?
Before we'll pray. Yes.
No, still not answered the question.
I don't know what you're asking. I couldn't read.
You have to listen to the question to be able to answer. right?
Mhm.
Yeah. My question was that there is a conversation happening. I'm talking to you, you are listening. Then you talk and I listen, right? So there's a
Yeah.
conversation. I'm asking, is there some other conversation that goes on?
Some
At the
other
same time, no, there's no other conversation going on when
no.
you are
Okay,
talking.
at some other time when you're all alone, can a conversation
But
happen?
sometime in your mind things are going on. That is also conversation.
Absolutely. And that's a
You're
chatter
talking
that goes
in your
on.
mind.
Yeah, that's a conversation that goes on. And so what I'm just saying is that even if there's nobody to bring in Krishna and play the Krishna tune for you, right? That conversation, so it's the mind that has to be mana padara vinde. Your mind has to connect with the lotus feet of Krishna. If the mind is constantly connected to the lotus feet of Krishna, then you will automatically remember Krishna, right? And there's a verse in Ishopanishad where it says, Vayur anilam amritam atedam bhasmantam shariram om kritosmara kritam smara kritosmara kritam smara. So he's saying that at the time of death, when we die, what happens is we give back. So in chapter 7 of Bhagavad-gita, we read, Bhumi apo analo vayu. Listen, Vindhyavali, you'll miss the sense. So ahankara ityamme bhinna prakriti ashtara. So our body is made up of all these. Okay.
Yeah,
So when we die, what we do is that they will either bury us or they will burn us, or some animal will eat us and then pass it on through poop, right? And again, we will go back. So whatever is the earth content of my body goes back to earth, water goes back to water. So that's why vayu, anilam, so he's saying vayu, air goes back to air, fire goes back to big fire. Like that, you're returning everything there, right? So he's just saying that, oh my Lord, at that time, because no, the death is a very difficult time. So, oh my God, at that time he's saying, Krito smara kritam smara. Please remember what I have done for you. Please remember what I have done for you, because I am Vindhyavali, I am worried I will forget. Right? That's the prayer that they're doing. But in the purport, Prabhupada says that, a devotee doesn't even have to make that kind of a prayer, because Krishna will come. Krishna will remind. So to have that faith, right? That is unalloyed devotional service, and that is complete surrender, and actually that is faith. That is drid faith in Krishna, that he will do it.
So he will remind.
He will remind. So unnecessarily chatter, unnecessarily worry, what is going to happen? Verse 24 is going to happen to me, 25 is going to happen to me. No, that's all not for devotees.
Yeah.
All that we do, that even Krishna is telling to Arjuna in this verse, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam sarveshu kaleshu, at all time you remember me. At all time, and do what? Yudh. And it's such a difficult thing. When you are sitting in a calm and quiet atmosphere, when there is nothing going on, no war around you, right? Nobody in the house has woken up. It's quiet, a morning time, and still we can't focus on Lord. So what to talk about thinking about Lord when we are in a war? He has to think about so many things, right?
Yeah.
But a Krishna conscious person keeps Krishna in the background always. So always that mental chatter, the mental conversation happens with Krishna. As he observes things and sees Krishna's hand, he's like, oh, Krishna, okay, you're doing it. That chatter happens. Right? And when you get into that habit of constantly being in touch with Krishna, then death comes easily. And for devotees, Krishna makes death come easily. You have to have that faith. Right? Because as you progress in devotional service, what makes death difficult is our attachments. Those attachments go away with devotional service. Right?
That's what he says. Once you detach from your material thing, you can be attached to me.
Yes.
Yes.
To the proportion that you detach from material things, to that proportion you get attached to Krishna. 10% detachment, you'll get 10% attached there, right? Like that. Okay?
Mataji, I want to tell you, both my sisters-in-law, they have started chanting the Valmiki.
Very nice. See?
All 16 rounds, total 16 rounds.
Very nice. Where are they?
They are in Faridabad.
Back in India. Very nice. Yeah.
I was so happy to know that today, she told me.
Yeah. Very nice. Very happy. You inspired them and they have Bhagavatam set?
And they have, both of them have Bhagavatam set, and both of them are reading, Mataji. They are on the third canto. Yeah, they are reading. Today I spoke to them. They are reading Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-gita, of course, they have read, and they have started chanting also.
Very nice. That's a consequence, yeah, of reading Bhagavatam. You'll start chanting pretty soon. Yeah. Nice, nice, nice. Should we call it a day?
Thank you so much, Mataji. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
I had to.
कृपा सिन्धुभयेवच पतितानां
पावनेभ्यो
पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो
नमो
नमः
नमः.
Go Premanande. Hari
Hari
Hari.
Hari Bol.
Thank you,
Thank
Shraddha
you,
Mataji,
Thank
as
you, Mataji.
always.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Nanda,
Shubha.
Kavita, idhar आओ.
Thank you.
Ah,
Thank
thank you,
you,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Hari Bol.
Thank you so
Hari
much.
Bol.
Bye.